back. We've had a bank holiday. I missed you last week, but we are absolutely back. It's Monday. It's 12:30. It's time for Live and Linking. And did you know that today is show 100 of Live and Linking? I've been doing lives forever, and then I changed the format and called it Live and Linking. And this is the 100th episode. And what better way than to celebrate by having the queen of Substack, but also the queen of LinkedIn. Let's talk to Melanie Goodman. Hello.
Hi, Ashley. I can't believe that this is episode 100. I am honoured to be on this milestone episode.
It's cool, isn't it? But you've got to start somewhere, haven't
you? Amazing. Well done, you.
I was chatting to someone this morning, like, I've just done one podcast. Yeah, but you've got to start somewhere.
So somewhere it's like people posting on LinkedIn. It's like, if you don't start, you're not going to get anywhere.
No, absolutely. So, just in case anybody doesn't know who Melanie Goodman is, go on, give us a quick intro, please.
I'm Melanie Goodman. I have been on LinkedIn for probably about 15 years. I run a LinkedIn marketing and training business. I am a lawyer by original profession, so I still draft social media policies for firms. But most of what I do is content creation and LinkedIn training to make you leverage LinkedIn more effectively.
Oh, I love that. So went from being a lawyer to now teaching people how to use this social media stuff, but you still get your hands dirty with lawyer stuff.
I do. I really enjoy geeking out over some social media policies and drafting them and reviewing them, etc. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And LinkedIn, you've been doing it for 15 years.
Originally, I was working for a law firm. That's how I started, and I basically saw the potential of LinkedIn for business development. While I was actually doing, I wasn't practicing. I was doing the business development for a Panamanian law firm many years ago, and I was managing their European business development. And then in 2017, I set up Trevisan, which is my own business doing the same thing for other people, basically, because I saw at the time I was living in Switzerland, and I saw that there were a lot of people in finance over there, and family office space and private wealth, who just didn't know how to leverage it to really convert for them, and to sort of they just had Rolodexes, if that, of LinkedIn connections. It was like, okay, well, you can convert those into real conversations that go somewhere. And it was that was how I started.
No, that's brilliant. It's great to have that foresight. I'm just going to give a name check out to Michal, David. He pretty much watches every single show that I do. Hi, Michal. Good to see you. And I'm going to bump into him Wednesday and Thursday because I'm doing a show up in London. So look forward to seeing you. Yes, 100 shows. You haven't watched all of them, but you're pretty close, Michal. So good to see you. It's very, I'm trying to think of what the word is. Pioneering, I suppose, if you can see a potential in a platform that was designed to get people jobs. Is that right? Is that what it was designed for?
I think originally, some people still look at it like a job site, but then those people are missing out. But obviously I'm biased. But yeah, I think that's how it started out. People, and then sort of grown from there, sort of grown outwards like a tree.
Yeah. But you saw the potential really early, didn't you?
Yes, I think probably earlier than a lot of people. But then, I know there's a few other LinkedIn trainers who have been on there even longer than me. So. And you've been on there also, Ashley. You've been on there a fair while as well.
I've been. Oh yeah, probably. Maybe a little bit longer, but not a lot longer. But yeah, it's an incredible place, and I think of it more like online networking. So rather than driving, and where I live in Devon, to get to any of these events that are on, it's always a good hour or so in the tractor. And so it's sort of like at least I can connect with people in the comfort of my shed. Without having to navigate those hills with the trailer on the back. So yeah, so that's why I love LinkedIn. So you've been using LinkedIn, okay, and then you've branched out a little bit, haven't you? So are you juggling 2 platforms?
I may be juggling 2 platforms.
Okay.
So yes, I am straddling both Substack and LinkedIn, and really just making them work together. So more is more, and I find that they do link up really, really well together. And the main advantage is that I can monetize certain connections and relationships that I have on LinkedIn by basically bringing them more into a community on Substack. So my Substack is not just a newsletter platform, it's like a membership platform as well. So you can just come along for free and read my newsletters and you don't have to do anything. But then if you want to, Substack gives you the opportunity that people can then join or could be part of a larger community where they can attend my monthly LinkedIn lunch and learns or accountability calls or get free tools or well, they're not free if they're a paid subscriber, but it depends. They can choose it. You can choose your level. So on Substack you can be a free subscriber to a newsletter, or you can pay for the perks of being a member. Depends on what you want, but it gives you more opportunities to use what you're already writing, say on LinkedIn, to then reach a wider audience and earn some money directly from what you're writing. So that, and that's the truth of it, is that, and it's not just when I started, I always thought Substack was a bit of this sort of like airy fairy like novel where people write novels, and or like the free press was actually the only way. That was actually the way that I knew about Substack, was because I used to read the free press. But I thought it was more for journalists and writers and not like professionals. And then my eyes were open when I actually looked into it last summer, and I saw actually there's like industry leaders and venture capital and family offices, and I was like, oh, this is like right up my street, and started connecting on there with people, or subscribing as they call it, rather than connecting on there. So
okay, so what about TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook? Do you do any of those platforms? Absolutely not. You don't want to think about that then.
No, do you know what? That's not really true. I do have a presence on Facebook and a presence on Instagram, and I actually do put my Substack newsletters onto Instagram with a link when I publish them once a week. But I don't actively grow them, purely because I only have 24 hours in the day, and you can't do everything well, and you can't be a specialist in every platform.
No.
So LinkedIn is what I'm a specialist in, and I teach. Substack works with LinkedIn to reach a greater audience and to monetize my LinkedIn presence. So they work together as a flywheel. Other platforms are just there in the background, floating in the ether.
But I was watching a webinar one day, and there was this social media trainer, and the social media trainer came on and said you need to be on Facebook, and listed all of the platforms, and you have to post every day on all of the platforms. And I'm thinking, when are we going to do any work? Because that's the other thing.
I have to be really strict with myself. I do my most, not all, but most of my commenting and engagement first thing in the morning, as you've probably seen when I've commented on a post. It's usually between 6 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll sort of dip in during the day, maybe at lunchtime and the end of the day. But I have to obviously service the clients that I've got, retainers with, and that I'm actually creating content for, and growing their network, and there's have to do the client work.
Yeah, absolutely.
High standard, because you don't have any clients, so there's no point building a pipeline if you lose your clients. So
true. And so a question I get asked, you probably get asked this an awful lot as well. If I write something on Facebook, can I put it on LinkedIn as well? What's your stock answer to that one?
Oh, Facebook to LinkedIn. It depends what it is, but I mean, you could do, but it depends what sort of audience you're looking to target and what you're hoping to get out of your LinkedIn presence. I mean, there's nothing to stop you doing it, but I would always say those sort of posts should be very few and far between. It depends what you put on your Facebook, to be quite honest. But I mean, I mean, I rarely, and funny enough, today is an exception. I rarely post anything, as you've probably seen by my post, that is not business or LinkedIn related. But that's not to say it's wrong. It's just the way that I operate, and it's served me well so far. So I prefer that, unless it's something important and I have something important to say. Hence, this morning I did do one that wasn't strictly professional. So, but that's few and far between. I mean, you can look back, and I don't think since 2017, I don't think there's any photos of my family on there, or my pets, or anything else,
or your breakfast,
or my breakfast. Oh, there's been the occasional coffee, actually, where I've met someone for coffee. You will find the occasional coffee, but that's it. But that's just the way that
the Melanie Goodman operates.
Exactly. That's not to say that someone else's way is. There's people who are far more maybe successful on LinkedIn or have far more followers, and they post a lot of personal content. I'm not comfortable doing that. I have enough people, like someone tried to video time me at 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. So thank you. I do not wish to put any more of me on LinkedIn than I do. There's a line, and
there is a line. No, good for you. Okay, so let's investigate Substack. First of all, what is it for those of us that don't use? Well, I use it, but there's going to be some people that have heard about it but don't really know what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so Substack is I would call it a newsletter publication platform, and you can also write short notes on it, which I would say are akin to a tweet or a very short LinkedIn post.
Okay.
And so the ideal is to be doing 2 or 3 of those very short. Some people just post 1 line or 2 lines, a sort of thought. And so it sort of does resemble the old like tweets. So there's that side, and then there's the long form, what they call posts, what we would call newsletter articles from LinkedIn. And those, I suppose, in an ideal world, you'd be doing them once a week. And one of the advantages is that they come up in searches on Google, and now on answer engines, so on your Claude, ChatGPT. And that's really what we want to be aiming for, is that when somebody types how to do XYZ or who's the best XYZ into Claude, that we get suggested and our answers get suggested and our writing gets suggested, so people can learn more about us. And Substack is very good for that. So you can reach a wider audience. And then, as I said, you could also write, because this all sounds like a lot of work. If you write 1 article a week on Substack, you could make 4 or 5 LinkedIn posts out of that 1 article, because LinkedIn posts are shorter. So It's all about repurposing, which I have a Substack article coming out about repurposing tomorrow, which is just completely coincidental that I've just tied that in. But that is like a big advantage, that if you're writing long form content, and the same on LinkedIn, if you're writing 1 piece of long form content, which I'm sure actually you can make umpteen different smaller pieces of content out of that 1 piece. So it's not like 10 times the amount of work, but it's different. And I would always suggest not to write the exact same thing on Substack as on LinkedIn, because you don't want to ruin your SEO on either platform. So what I do is I will tweak it slightly. So I might write the longer form, which could be 2,000 words on Substack. And then on LinkedIn newsletter, I will do a slightly different version so that I haven't ruined my SEO, and also maybe with a slightly different target audience, but the same subject. So it's mostly the same work. And then I will link to if people want to read the full article, they can read most of it on LinkedIn. They then go over to Substack. And then they can decide whether they want to read my other stuff on Substack, if they want to to become a member, or etc. So they're I sort of bring them into my world, hopefully.
Yeah. So the top idea here then is stop thinking about short form content, think about long form content, get that up on Substack, and then use that as your basis for your short form content on LinkedIn. Now, which way do we do it? Do we do the short form on LinkedIn first and then link that back to the article that you're going to drop next week, or do it the other way around?
So the way that I do it, my short form content isn't the same on both platforms because the structure is different to how you would write a LinkedIn post as to how you would write a short note on, which is like a tweet on Substack. So my short form is not the same. It's only the long form, which is similar. And I put the long form first on Substack, and then I put like a teaser article, which is much shorter, and maybe has a slightly different wording, so I don't copy and paste onto LinkedIn. And to be quite honest, and I was really transparent, using AI to help you, once you have written the original long form, get AI to help you in a fraction of the time to repurpose that into a LinkedIn newsletter, so that you're not plagiarizing your Substack piece.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because the thing is, if I search for something and it's the same piece all over the shop, the search engines are going to blow a wobbly. Is that why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want to have to say exactly the same piece on umpteen different platforms. So it's definitely better. Plus, my audience is there is some overlap, but also quite a lot of differences. Like I find that I'm getting followed by a lot of people on Substack who aren't proficient yet on LinkedIn, so they want to learn more about it. Whereas I would say my LinkedIn network is probably generally more advanced on using LinkedIn because they've obviously been on LinkedIn because they're on LinkedIn. So they're generally a bit more proficient. So it's a slightly different audience. So, but there's some articles which are equally interesting to both parties. Like for example, my long form article last week was about how to get the highest reach on your posts. Well, whichever platform you're on, you're going to want to hopefully read that. So it does work on both platforms.
No, superb. Mihal's just said that he's finding that personal content gives him more impressions and likes than business related stuff. Anything to say on that?
Yes, I agree. But the problem is I tend to find that they're a dopamine hit of impressions, and the odds are they don't convert actually into clients. So although they're nice to have, I've got a post this morning that's doing extremely well, but I probably won't get any clients from it. But it's a more personal post. Whereas I might post 3 posts this week all about LinkedIn features, which I probably will, and they'll probably get very mediocre, a couple of thousand impressions or something. But somebody is more likely to look at those and think hopefully she knows what she's talking about,
sure,
and then get in contact with me for some work with them. So for me, I try not to get too bogged down in how many impressions something's got. I tend to look at my inbox as a better reflection of how business is going.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So for somebody like Mihal, then personal post is great, but because he's the world's greatest bookkeeper, some bookkeeping tips and some things that we should be doing with our accounts and stuff like that is the best tip then.
I would say so.
Perfect. And Lucy has just said she's going to take a look at your publication. She loves Substack, so you've got a new follower. Wow. You've got a new follower today. So
it's called the Link Tank.
A link tank. Okay, we can't forget that. Kevin, that's a great name. How did you come up with that?
Well, I wanted something that had LinkedIn in the title, but as we all know, you can't use LinkedIn in the title of anything, and so you have live and linking, and so I don't remember actually how I thought of that. I thought it was like think tank, but link tank.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant.
That was I don't remember how I actually thought of that, but moment of inspiration.
So what if someone's already writing a newsletter to their email list? Could they put that on Substack?
Well, absolutely. So Substack also gives you the ability to email. So one of the advantages that you don't have on LinkedIn is that when you get a LinkedIn connection, they may have put their email address on their LinkedIn. Most actually haven't. And so your network stays on the platform. On Substack, different ethos completely. When you subscribe to someone's newsletter, you have to give them your email address. And so they become an email subscriber. And Substack give you the ability to email directly from the Substack platform. So whereas like in LinkedIn, you can start an article, in Substack, you can start an email. And I can, if I want to, I can email all 22,000 people that are following me on Substack. However, you can't personalize the emails. So what a lot of people do is they start their own email subscriber list off Substack as well, by using the emails that they've got from Substack, where people have said that they're happy to be emailed. So
yeah, okay. So you could put that onto your MailChimp or your MailerLite or whatever else you're using.
And what they actually allow you to do is when you start your Substack, you can import your email lists or LinkedIn connections, etc. So it gives you the ability to import an Excel file of contacts straight onto your Substack, which is a great like starting block to have, so that when you don't start with 0, you already start with X amount of subscribers. And I found people really open to coming from LinkedIn and following me on Substack as well. Not everybody, but a lot of people. Like so, it was positive. And I would suggest that when you're setting up your Substack, that's definitely something to consider doing, is to ask people to follow you onto Substack.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I guess you started with no followers whatsoever.
No, well, not when I started last summer in July. I had 0 followers. I didn't even have a Substack account. So brilliant. I just sort of, I binged basically when I was on holiday last year, but while the rest of my family was sleeping every morning, I binged Substack videos and set up my Substack and learned how to use it. So for 2-3 hours every morning for like 2 weeks, I was Substacking. And what I actually did was I repurposed a lot of I downloaded my data from LinkedIn. LinkedIn give you all your, they give you like all your newsletters. So they gave me all the articles I'd written, and then I started publishing those on Substack.
Perfect. So if you're already writing content, if you've already got newsletters, if you've maybe written a book, you can use all of that content and start on Substack.
You've got a library of content ready to go on Substack.
Absolutely. And people forget this, don't they? They're sort of like, oh, but yeah. So like you say, downloading your data.
Download your data, which you should do regularly from LinkedIn anyway, because as we all know, if you lose your access to your account, you would want your data, which even if you do lose access, they actually have to give you anyway. But that's beside the point. It's better to have it and not have to ask for it.
Well, I suppose if you lose access to LinkedIn, then you can't get hold of them anyway to get your data, can you?
Yeah, there's a contact form for if you're locked out your account. You can.
Right. Okay. And then you've got to go through all that arduous task again. And this is the thing. This is why we're trying to get our own email list. So Substack is a way of getting your own email list, isn't it?
It's more proprietary, so you're not so much reliant on somebody else's platform, should it all go wrong.
Yeah, no, fantastic. I do a little feature on my show called Roast My Post. And what I normally do is roast someone's post. So they sort of like, oh, Ash, this post didn't do very well or whatever. The last thing I want to do to Melanie Goodman is roast one of her posts. Okay. But I did a post at the weekend. Maybe we could roast it between us.
Let's roast it.
So let's just find the only reason I do this. Where is it? I thought I had a little roast my post video here. Where's that? Is that it there?
Roast my post, give me the comment ghost. Roast my post, we're gonna roast my...
There we go. That's the only reason I do.
I actually love coming on here just for the jingles.
It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. Right, so I was 60 last week. I talked about it on LinkedIn. I got loads and loads of impressions, loads and loads of lovely, 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 heartfelt messages. And so for my newsletter this week, I said, should we talk about birthdays on LinkedIn? Because that was one of my suggestions. I don't know if you know, but every single Sunday I share 5 ideas for what we should be writing on, or what we could be writing on LinkedIn for content. And none of it is legal or finance or anything like that. It's all stuff that we talk about when we go to networking events. And some people don't think we should do, and other people think we should do. And so Melanie Goodman come on here and said, I'm a fan. It might just brighten someone's day and strengthen your network. So let's dig a little bit deeper into why you said that, Melanie.
I said that. So every morning, I go down my notifications of my birthdays, not so much the job anniversaries, because I think they're a bit... but the change of role. So who in my network has got a new job, and I don't just press the congrats button, but I send them a personalized message, and the same with the birthdays. And it usually sparks some sort of conversation or response, because 99% of other people will just press the button, and it's automated. So I think they're a really good conversation starter. I find that people really appreciate them. And if you stand out, hopefully you'll be the first in line when they need someone offering with the services that you offer.
No, brilliant. That's a great idea.
Without sounding cynical, because obviously I do want to brighten someone's day, but in the long term, it'll make you be remembered.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing, right? There's like 1.3 billion people on LinkedIn. How do you stand out? You stand out by being kind and nice and human and relatable, don't you?
Yeah, to be quite honest, I treat my LinkedIn as an extension of what I'm like in real life. So I'm not a different person. I mean, you've met me in person.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I've met a lot of not a lot, but I've met a fair amount of my LinkedIn connections. And I would hope that they would all say that I'm basically the same in real life as I am on LinkedIn. I don't have a persona. I am as I am. So, and I try and within reason extend that to, if people message me, I don't say, I'm not answering that unless you pay me. I'll, do you know what I mean? I answer questions all the time, and, and I just think that goodwill is like karma. It comes back to you. So
it certainly does.
It gets you referrals. So, even if someone isn't my ideal client persona, when they come, when they come to me, it might be that actually they're at a networking event the next day, and they're talking to somebody about marketing, and then hopefully they will say, I know somebody who can do that or can help you, and hopefully my name will come up. And that's how I see it, is that I just try and look at it long term. So I don't just see it as a tool. I do see it as a sort of an extension of.
Yeah, absolutely. We've nearly come to the end of the show. Before I give a shout out to next week's guest, is there anything I've forgotten to ask you today?
Oh, I don't think so.
Or anything else? Anything else you wanted to share? How do we find you?
I was just about to say, the only thing that I would say is that you can find me obviously on LinkedIn, Melanie Goodman, and I will come up. There's not too many of me. On Substack, my publication is called The Link Tank. And I was just saying to you before, if anyone is interested in making the LinkedIn Substack flywheel work, I ran a boot camp for 4 days, and the recordings are available. So either message me or they're on my profile if you want to access the recordings from those 4 days and make it
fantastic. Yeah, no, absolutely. And start smiling and loving Substack just like you do. Right, next week, I've got another LinkedIn superstar. I've got Niraj Kapoor. We both know Niraj. Lovely, lovely guy. Got the most amazing voice. I cannot wait to have a chat with him and find out what we're doing wrong when we're trying to sell our services, because we are all guilty of not charging enough. So that's coming up next week. Melanie, you've been absolutely super duper. as always, I'm not sure how many times you've been on, but
Lots of times, but I'm very honoured to have been on your 100th show. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming, and here's to the next 100 or so. So yeah, thank you very much indeed, and thank you very much to everybody for your comments. And we will be back next week with Niraj. Cheerio, Melanie.
Thank you. Bye, Ashley.
Bye. Oh, I gotta hit that button first. Thank you so much for watching or listening to my show this week. I want to bring to you people that can help us running our business. I love having a chat. I'm very nosy, very curious, and I'd love to ask questions. So if you want to be a guest, or if you've got some ideas for guests, let me know. And if you want me to help you with your LinkedIn, get in touch, because I want to give you a voice. Now, that could just be using LinkedIn, but I do other things as well. So I can help you with a podcast, a live show, and all kinds of other amazing things. So get in touch. My name's Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and you can find me on LinkedIn.